Listing of voices is real. The AI development is real. The new synthetic biotechnology and the warfare is all real. But let's go into the aspect of what they're planning on this. One specific part we'll go into, and we'll also line up the other details that we have already unfolded. But we have the Ebola drills here in America starting to unfold more into our eyes, into the public sphere. Why is this? Well, all the details are already here, and I'm pretty sure most of you tuning in know, and if you don't, of course, we'll go over that again with you live here today, and we'll show you the videos of the drills that they're starting to unleash. So thanks for tuning in here live today. We must continue to battle, and we must continue to be smart and use the items we need to survive. All right, doing here, we're live here. Gonna try to get the video showing up. All right, there we go. So in the last video, of course, I put you into a lot of the detailed aspect, basically, of them saying that I can't post certain videos, I can't say certain things, but Fox News posts the videos, and then they say, oh, well, we understand that you wasn't really trying to violate the guidelines, but we had to take your video down anyway. And so we talked about that last report. JWT video banned. YouTube says they understand I didn't mean to break guidelines and says don't post videos at all on suicide, but Fox News video is still up. And I don't want Fox News to be taken down, but the video was up everywhere. The man basically setting himself on fire. And basically what I said was people basically have free will. We don't want them to do this stuff. But in this battle against free wills, people have to know within that battle that they have to choose good and not evil. Because you hear things within your head and you hear things that is good and bad. And so you have to choose the right side. It's what everybody has to do. That's not what this video is about, but I'm just showing you how the persecution is on a high level. And especially when it comes to people refusing vaccines or just having freedom of speech or whatever. Recently in the meeting, I told you the UN head has said, fight vaxxer hesitancy as basically a disease, a contagious disease. And this is so symbolic of what they're planning, because why would you fight people who hesitate against vaccines as a contagious disease when MDs are coming out and they say like the mutant strand is within the vaccines? So we're going to get into the reports of the Ebola drills that's coming up. And we had one already in April. Now we're having some here in May. So this is the one in April. Hospital in West Virginia conducts Ebola drill test preparedness for the first time. More than 30 hospital staff participated in the drill on Thursday. That was back in April. The newest drill is happening what's the date? May 29, 2019. Ebola drills held statewide, including Mercy and Cox hospitals. But on Wednesday, it says, you heard of tornado drills. You heard disaster drills. Yeah. We're going to take into that clip in just a second. Now they're saying maximum level is needed over in Congo. Congo Ebola response must be elevated to maximum level, UN told. And some of the actual people who are out there who don't trust people with the Ebola vaccine because they're starting to figure out what was happening. We're not encouraging it, but they were attacking some of the workers that was doctors basically, and basically taking them out. And then it was like, well, stop these attacks or a major outbreak will happen. And to me, that sounded like they were saying we'll release the outbreak if you don't stop these attacks, because they're bringing vaccines, which is actually not effective. And so moving down into the report, they start introducing this to America because now they're going to have the drills. Let's lay this out to you. It's part of the plan. They're going to lay out the drills. And yes, we have sick people really here. It's been more reports of that coming out. And they always want to say, oh, the flu and stuff like that. This is a recent report from today. Health officials, 59 confirmed flu cases Among the hundreds of border illegals relocated to San Diego, Texas Processing Center has said they had people with TB, scabies. It was people who came with Ebola and all that. So why in the heck is this new population not being quarantined before they come in and wait at least 6 to 7 months to figure out what they have so they can come in properly? But no, Border Patrol and everything else that's happening, these crippled laws are allowing them to just come in, of course, get shipped to different places as they go. And it's just like, oh, just bring them all in. We're not going to have it's not going to be any problems when this happens. So again, we align that up with the business plan. And let's think about it too. Why are they introducing to us that they may ban flights? Because of a so-called measles situation. So I'm just showing this because this is definitely a part of something they plan. And they don't roll out stuff in PR campaigns for nothing. Now, sometimes things fail, sometimes things don't. But we got to see through the narrative here. So U.S. government considers air issuing ban against measles outbreak risk. And so it's not even going to be the measles. That's the problem. Even though we have mutant strands within different vaccines. But we're going to say here that that's going to just be the cover story. They can use any outbreak of whatever and say, okay, we need to ban these people from flying. And so we'll keep them in. We'll introduce the Ebola vaccine to Americans, just like they're starting to do. Merck V920 Ebola Zaire vaccine candidate is under study by the NIH, which is the National Institutes of Health, at the prepared study sites in Bethesda, MD, and Atlanta, GA. And of course, you know, CDC is over there in Atlanta, has done a bunch of corrupt stuff and covering up. And we're about to go ahead and take into the drills in a second, but you notice how we always talk about the World War II situation, the Nazis coming over, biowarfare labs, Operation Paperclip, because that's why we're facing so much biowarfare right now. Their descendants are here. They descended from Plum Island, moved to Kansas. Now they're still here populating parts of Europe and populating parts of here in America. This is why we're truly under biowarfare, because the German scientists brought in was really high advanced. They injected ticks with diseases, and they injected mosquitoes with diseases to beat entire populations. They used the fluoride. It was all about biowarfare. But before we take into these drills, let's remember something very important. Speaking about the ticks, though, before I get into that, it was just a quarantine issued in part of Virginia for invasive insect. Okay, so this is May 31st, 2019. A quarantine has been established in part of Virginia due to an invasive species that threatens the producers of many fruits. The Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services announced the establishment of the spotted lanternfly quarantine on Tuesday. Spotted the lanternfly. So this is what they're calling. The quarantine covers Frederick County and the city of Winchester, effective immediately. So they got a quarantine issue over there in that part of Virginia because of an invasive insect. And like we've been saying to you here, they do inject the bugs with biowarfare. It's mainly known to be ticks. It's mainly known to be mosquitoes. And a rep just came out a couple of days ago, not even a day ago. It was probably just, it says 3 hours ago. So it was actually about 5 because I did this screenshot it about 2 hours ago. Lyme disease, a bioweapon gone AWRY. Rep Chris Smith pushes Trump to investigate. And so he's starting to put out Lyme disease and what it is. And we're going to get into a video to that. But let's go to the drills real quick here and show you what they're showing. Ebola drills held statewide include Mercy and Cox hospitals. But on Wednesday across Missouri, there was a statewide Ebola drill for medical facilities to plan for their response to the rare but often fatal virus. So I'm just telling y'all, they're getting ready to introduce this stuff, but we got to remember an important detail. So I'm about to take you to the clip now. I don't know if this was a he or a she here. I'm just questioning it because I looked at the person. I'm like, I don't know if this is he or a she, but I mean, the neck kind of looks wide and it sounds like a lady. I don't know today. You know how everything is today. But they're like, oh, back in this video, he talked about somebody could have been a man or a woman. So let me go ahead and take you into this video clip here and stop goofing around. So here's a video clip about the Ebola drills that are basically being set up. And we're about to go ahead and roll the clip for you. Here it is right here. Actually, that's not the clip. So let's go ahead and put the clip in. We already have the clip lined up for you. So, all right, here's the clip. It's about to roll. You define whether if it's a man or a woman or not, but here it is.
We've heard of tornado drills and disaster drills, but today across Missouri, there was a statewide Ebola drill for medical facilities to plan their response to the rare but often fatal virus. Joe Hickman has a look at what it entails.
The Ebola patient was actually a nurse volunteering for the drill, but as she entered the decontamination area at Mercy Hospital, she would see a room divided into 3 separate sections and hazmat-suited medical personnel to take her through it.
We divide this room into hot, warm, and cold, meaning the highly infectious, before we've done anything, we want to keep them isolated here. Once we have them deconned, we move into what we call a warm or a cold zone then, and that's where we are safe to work.
The patient is then assessed in an isolated room and placed into a plastic bag-looking device known as an isopod.
The isopod is a negative chamber in which the air is filtered both coming and going, and it gives us a way to work with the patient without directly, being in contact with, and it's great for moving.
From there, the isopod is scrubbed down with bleach, and the patient is then handed off to hazmat-suited EMTs, who transport her to a waiting ambulance and a trip to Barnes-Jewish Hospital in St. Louis for more evaluation, and eventually to an Ebola treatment center in Nebraska or Iowa. Today was a learning experience for everyone, including the practice patient, Christy Boss.
It was a little bit scary for me, so I can only imagine as a patient what kind of experience that may be for them. When they wiped the isopod down with bleach, then the fumes became very strong.
That was a lesson learned, Joe. That's something that we had not heard before.
Evaluators from the National Ebola Training Education Center were on hand at both Mercy and Cox for today's drills. And although there have been only 11 reported cases of Ebola in the U.S., officials like Kendra Finley with the Greene County Health Department say being prepared is vital.
I think it's incredibly important. With any infectious disease, there's always the potential for spread to other areas of the world.
So there you go. You've seen the video. They're introducing the drills. We're finna talk about a deeper aspect of it. So let's line it up here. But you did see that kind of looked like, in my heart and mind, that was a man. So I definitely had to say that. And I'm not going to shut my mouth on things, even though they try to ban me for saying people basically have free will and we can't stop them, but we can try to. And I'm against all suicide and anything else like that. But they'll ban you for just saying typical things that's real, and then they say don't put the videos up at all. So again, while we're going through all this, remember, they want to control the narrative of everything. And so they'll find ways to persecute you anyway. Even if they say, oh, well, we know you didn't mean to, say or violate the terms of community service, just like they said to me. We know you didn't mean to do it, but go back and check all of your videos, because if you don't, basically they're going to go back and check my videos and see if they can find something else to get me with. So first of all, they need to control the narrative like always. And let's not forget what they said, the professor said. And like we said, scientists combat the use of Ebola as a bioweapon. And what did they say? Remember exactly what he said. Even if this act of terrorism killed only a small number of people, it's the panic, the fear, and the economic issues caused by it that would be concerning, said Thomas Geisberg, a professor at University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston and a member of the Institute for Human Infectious Immunity. But bioterrorism loses its appeal when there are treatment options at hand. So remember, through this event, they're already starting to say, oh, we got the drills coming. We got the vaccine coming. CDC's already getting ready to cook it up. Over in Atlanta, they're doing it right now as we speak. So you got the drills come up, then you got the vaccine. And you got the people say, oh, hurry up, get the vaccine, hurry up. You know, and they're scared. And then the economic parts, they spend all their money. Smart people spend their money to go get things like hazmat suits or whatever they need. And then they say anti-vaxxers don't want to take the vaccine. You know, that could be the story right there, because let's ban them from leaving, because this is the PR rollout that they're putting out right here. I'm just showing you that we have to break down certain things, because they've already basically put it into the public sphere. They put it out there as a thought, and they do that for a reason. So they started broadening the category of who can get the Ebola vaccine. Now they're actually committing to creating it. So now we hear about the drills too. We're laying this all out in a detailed form because it has to be laid out, and this is exactly what they're planning. But don't think there's multiple other lines that comes with the plan. So I'm just simply laying out a part of it to you. It's other halves to it, but I'm really laying out the most important detail. But you got to listen to these people run their mouth, and you got to listen to what they say. And so we're going to be a contagious disease as well, even though people getting the Ebola vaccine, in their eyes, we're going to be a contagious disease because we don't take the vaccine. And so they're going to say, well, we need to come after them for not doing it, while millions and millions of others keep flooding in. And we're already under biowarfare through vaccines and everything else. So it's important to get this in detailed aspect. So let's go to the video of the rep talking about Lyme disease. Lyme disease, a bioweapon. And it says, Rep. Chris Smith pushes Trump to investigate. Smith addressed Lyme patients' concern at a town meeting in Wall. Behind the scenes, he's hoping a new book will help get chronic Lyme recognized. And then we got a bug in West Virginia here, and all of a sudden quarantine happens. So we're going to go and we're going to read more about this bug in a few. But first, we're going to go ahead and get into his clip and what he mentions. He mentions something important here that I'm going to put in the video in just a second. So let's tune into this clip real quick.
Never in my 39 years as a member of Congress have I seen such pushback, and members of Congress in the U.S. Senate who listen probably get a lot of money in terms of political action contributions and put a halt on our bill each and every time. Each and every time. Like I said, one time we had well over 100 co-sponsors of a comprehensive Lyme bill. This working group, which is done, like I said at the beginning, historic work, and this is a pivot. Hopefully it will work. But when you read it, it's extraordinary. It doesn't do everything, but it's an extraordinary blueprint for effective action. We could have had this in 1999, 2000, 2001, all those years, but it was blocked by the Infectious Disease Society of America and members of Congress who listened to them to the detriment of Lyme patients.
All right, so let's get back into the detail here. He's basically putting the book out. He's laying it out. He's saying like, okay, this is stuff we found. And multiple different people are starting to get a little bit more sick from these little tick situations because German scientists injected them too, right? So let's read a little bit more of what he was saying. And it says, it was a sad sight. The mother of 5-year-old with chronic Lyme disease practically begging for help because no doctor will treat her daughter. What can I do about this? She asked U.S. Rep. Chris Smith, an air of desperation in her voice. That was the tenor of Wednesday congressional town meeting on Lyme and tick-borne disease. More than 200 people, most of them impacted by Lyme disease or related ailment, came to hear Smith and his panel discuss latest in long-running battle to get chronic Lyme recognized by medical establishment. You can hear Smith talk about Lyme disease in the video, which we already showed you. And so upward 300,000 Lyme cases are diagnosed each year in the U.S. More than half are children. In New Jersey, one of the hot spots for many who are diagnosed promptly, the standard month-long course of antibiotics mitigates the illness. But detection is difficult, and for some, the symptoms continue for months or years because you don't need antibiotics. It's just stripping you of your good and bad bacteria. You would actually need probiotics. But he talked about the IDSA, who was covering up, basically, who blocked some of the reports that he was speaking of. The IDSA, the Infectious Diseases Society of America, who say they're working for our patients and public health. And we're blocking reports basically about certain aspects of the disease. So it's a big community of people here working against our interests. And biowarfare is already happening on us. And so this article is saying we're not ready. A lot of people aren't. But the thing is, you got to realize that they do want to create the atmosphere for fear. So being ready is also having items you need. Let's go back into what the bug that was, let's see if I can find that article. It adds this species of insect that can feed on more than 70 plant species, including grapes, apples, stone fruits such as peaches, hops, and the tree of heaven, which is the insect's preferred host. So it says the insect was first detected in Virginia and Winchester in January 2018. And subsequent surveys found it established in the city, spreading into Frederick County just north of the city. Before the spotted lanternfly, this is what it's called. So remember, lanternfly, I have more studies to do on this, was found in Virginia. It had only been confirmed in Pennsylvania in 2013, but there are now populations of it established in New Jersey and Delaware as well. And so 4 states now have active quarantines in the areas for the species. The quarantine business must get a permit from VDACS and inspect articles that are considered a risk for movement of insect species when such products are being moved out of quarantine zone. So wait a minute, let me read this again. Businesses must get a permit from VDACS and inspect articles that are considered a risk for movement of insect species when such products are being moved out of quarantine zone. So I'm guessing they're saying expect different type of articles and a judicious type of articles and stuff like that. So I know they're not talking about reports. If they are, then that's just totally Orwellian. But we're giving you the reports here today, and we kind of laid out the blueprint, trying to give you pieces and bits of what's being planned here. So let's just talk about it. Ebola vaccine coming to CDC. Drills. Get some mass panic. Get your vaccine, everybody. And then people who don't take it, we're the bad people. We're contagious disease. So you ban flights from happening to get more of the fear tactics. Even if it's just a small outbreak, like they say, it could just be a small outbreak. But they are saying at maximum level in Congo that they are mobilizing medical experts, basically. So charities call for outbreak to be put on par with crisis in Yemen and Syria, and death toll 1,287. By 2019, Congo Ebola response must be elevated to maximum level. But I mean, the only difference with this year is we have maximum overwhelming at our border, because we can say, yes, we hear Ebola all the time. We hear this every year and nothing happens. But this year we have maximum level of people coming in as well, which is all a part of the plan too. So again, we gave you the highlighted detailed aspect. This really tells you, get more healthy, buy more important products for your health. And so if you was in a bug out scenario, you had some items, medical items would be the highly needed items. I'm not a doctor, again, for legal advice, for legal aspects. I have to say that, not a doctor, not a physician, but I have trained people and helped them change their lives and seen a big, huge, massive change. Just like with colloidal silver, that's good. You know, basically one lady said, hey, my kid takes the colloidal silver. His nose is snotty at night. He takes it at night before he goes to sleep. He wakes up, no snot, and he's great. So colloidal silver is a great thing to have. Fight pathogens. It basically cuts off the chemical lung to certain pathogens that feed off chemicals in your body. And iodine is great too. Reducing radiation, helping hormonal balance. Nascent iodine, a real good iodine. And just having all types of stuff, filters for your house. And that's why I basically got the filter over here now, which filters out viruses. It has a carbon activated filter in it. So it's breathing it so much cleaner. And so when airborne viruses hit, you definitely want to have that. Now, Ebola is supposed to be only passed by different bleeding and, from transfer from person to person by mainly touch. But they did say an aerosol way they can try to use it with viral technology. And it was like, oh, well, it'll be expensive. They got all the crap, man. So don't believe these people. But know the separate half to the agenda as well. Okay, so it's all been about persecuting anybody who don't want to take vaccines this year as well. So that's another big part that's going to line up with this so-called Ebola situation. And it's just a criminal operation, really. If you look at it, it's everything being put into perspective and narrative, and everything, all the UN flooding us with these people who are fleeing poverty, and their country has been collapsed because of believing in the UN world order didn't work. And so they're going to collapse nations and then bring nations against each other to make this big event so they can get the order out of that chaos. So give you that live report here because we need to have a discussion about everything that is happening here, but also know that we have the ability to be protected, whether it be spiritually, whether it be mentally, and definitely medically, by getting natural things that you need. So get that. Make sure you very well know what you have that's natural medicine that comes from nature, because all stuff I have is natural stuff, comes from nature. Most of the products you got in the industry is depleted purposely, and they expect you to buy it when it's only got like 30% or 20% of probiotics inside of there. And like I said, with probiotics, that's the biggest thing you need to bring in the good guys in your stomach to battle the bad guys. So you can't underscore probiotics, and then prebiotics feeds the probiotics as well. So getting all that stuff and realizing that they're poisoning us in every single way, and just realizing that there's a way to get around this is the key. Not to say, well, it's over, well, they got us. They don't got us. They only got us when you want them to have you. So we're using as much as possible information. And remember, they say there's no cure for polio. When Robert Kleiner was using ascorbic acid vitamin C, and somebody was like, it didn't say he was curing them. That's because you didn't read deep into the reports. It said he cured all his patients of polio using ascorbic acid vitamin C. Now we know vitamin C is in oranges is acidic. So you can't eat too many oranges because it's acidic. You want to get vitamin C that's more, without acidic in it. So blackberries, I take that. Blackberries also give you calcium too. That's good for your bones. So I don't drink milk. I don't do any of that because most diseases grow around mucus. This is what Dr. Sebi was saying. He was curing people for HIV, cancer. The government killed them. He beat them in a court case. And so he started having interviews and coming out telling people he was healing people. And then next thing you know, he got offed. And when I say off, that means basically cutthroat. It's over with for life. But mucus and drinking milk and all the stuff, it makes your mucosal membrane start producing more mucus. And in essence, mucus is what the diseases like to live around. So big bulks of herbs can expel mucus. So you need herbs, and herbs is in the Bible anyway. So people try to demonize herbs, but it's in the biblical aspect that was for the healing of our bodies. You can consume it. It does great things. It expels lots of mucus. In essence, helping you get rid of all of the illness that is basically breeding up and decreasing the mucosal membrane. So dairy does all that stuff too. So you definitely got to get very serious on the health level. Somebody said, well, how would you beat Ebola? Don't get it. And have biological, masks and all this stuff. It's called like what's the specific one I'm thinking of? I can't remember that. I have to do a video separately on that if y'all want me to do one. Somebody says, we've never taken vaccination, never will. They'll have to shoot us first. I agree. We got freedom and rights. And so they tried to ban me earlier because I was talking about basically somebody video who committed suicide. And so I was just saying we got freedom of we got free will. And And then when you read in the community guidelines, it's like, well, we know you didn't probably mean to break the guidelines, but don't post any of those videos anymore. And Fox News and Twitter and that video is everywhere. And all I said was, look, we do need to have a discussion about it, which I did have in my last video. But I just said people got free will. We can try to stop them. If they're going to do that, then it's going to come down to a battle with their free will. And so basically it comes down to a battle of speaking about free will, big pharma, technology, and everything that's being promoted to people, and them wanting to control the narrative. And so this is what's happening. So somebody says, you're getting numb. Oh yeah, I already know. I got banned for doing a video way back. I didn't get banned, but it's like they ban you from live streaming. This time they didn't ban me from live streaming. But last time it was like, well, I showed a video of the military coming in, and I think it was a different task force. You know, they recruit street gangs into certain different branches of it. So I thought it was that branch, but at the end of the day, I just showed a video of them flying down with helicopters and pop, they're drilling, and then people are scared and afraid and running. And then they come down on some black people and like, well, we need to check to see, you know, if anybody over here had committed a crime or a murder because we had seen a report or something. I'm like, what are they talking about? And they never found anything. So I had all that on video. So they just said, okay, bam, we're taking it off. But it was a marshal. I think it was one of those court marshals or something like that, while they was doing the drills. And so you know how they are. We're not letting anything get out. But that's the information here anyway today. Just give you the live report. The drills are happening. And so when you speak to people about this, let them know that, yes, these drills are happening. Yes, people are coming in that are sick and ill. And the news is just like, oh, well, let them all come in. It's great. Now they switched and said that we don't want all these people coming in, but they're sanctuary cities and stuff, and they're the ones breaking the law, overriding the law by saying that they come in whether you're illegal or not, and they're protecting illegals that are terrorist sponsored as well. So I'm not saying all illegals are terrorists. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's some that they found in State Department are terrorist sponsored, and they're protecting them in sanctuary cities. So, but the migration wave starts to go across all of the land as well, and they start coming wherever they want to go. And so at the end of the day here, when people hear about this, they're like, oh my God, Ebola is coming. Oh my God, I need to get my vaccine. Don't let people think like that if you tell somebody about that, because this is what they want to push. And so then it's going to be us who don't get the vaccines who's going to be the big problem. And then they could say we need to ban flights because people won't get the vaccine. It's a deadly contagious outbreak. Now, I hope this don't happen, but through all the propaganda that they've laid out, it looks like what they're planning to do. And so now that we figured it out, they might try to switch the plan a little bit up too. So thanks for tuning in here live today. Make sure you share the report out and get it to people. And discussing this and having a big discussion about it and then seeing what's happening is important, because we can beat what the system is trying to do by knowing ahead of time, taking proper steps when it does happen. So proper steps is getting everything you need right now. Not letting the propaganda get you all scared and stuff like that. But real things are happening where letting people come in. So that's dangerous all in itself. So just be prepared. Thanks for tuning in live today. And may the Most High God be with all of you, protect you and your families. May you stay very spiritual, because these people that's coming after us, they're evil. And that's all it is to it. They don't like human life. They're afraid of babies. They're just putting them out in front of us like open sacrifice. They're afraid of the human species, basically. And we need to realize that, even though you say, well, they're killing a higher percentage of us that's, you know, autism is black. Well, they're killing whites, they're killing Chinese, they're killing Indians. And at that point, you start to see that they have a fear for the human race. They fear us even being born now. It's to that point. It's not just about depopulation, because they're also talking about AI, how they want to bring that in. So they fear the human population. They fear true spirits of moral decency, serving the Most High God, and just believing that there is a natural creator of this world, they fear that, and they feel like this is the ultimate battle that is really taking place here on a spiritual level. So just like back in the days when certain kings and stuff, they would execute kids as soon as they was born, it's like, well, no, he's a part of this great bloodline, and we don't want to have a resistance grow up, and we need to just go ahead and start cutting down the resistance, period. So it's like they're already starting to do that in front of our faces. Then they initiate trust scores. Then they initiate this process where they want to bring in all these people and try this mass chaos phase. And basically we're getting closer to entering that phase as we keep unfolding the details with you. So thanks for tuning in here live today. Beat the system by knowing what's happening, and we're studying in, and we're studying their moves, and we're giving you the information so you can combat it as well. So this is going to be very highly important detail for you to get out. It's so important for people not to just get into a panic mode, because that can kick off the economic downturn, as we just admitted. But thanks for tuning in live today. Expel all those. I see somebody says aluminum, mercury is very toxic. Yeah, it is. And like I said, I spoke with one of my subscribers who's a very great subscriber. I spoke to him. We met in person. It was just a couple of weeks ago. He talked about how the environment hit him with all these different aluminum, mercury. And guess what? The sky is hitting you with aluminum and mercury from the planes. And that's why the pH in the soil is like that. So you got to have nascent iodine to expel all of that. So again, there's ways to beat this stuff. You just have to know how to beat it and what to get. So thanks for tuning in live. And the report is here. And it is desperate times. It's crazy times. So every time I get up here, it gets crazier. But I thank you for all your support. And we're probably going to be back tomorrow, maybe, if something else breaks out. But I'm going to keep reporting on the Ebola situation and everything else. And get you. Somebody says, wait, what kind of iodine? Nascent iodine. So I know people say, well, table salt is iodine. No, that's not absorbing into your system. That's going in your system and manually attaching to certain parts of your skin to make you grow water retention. So somebody says, iodine, you used to be in our salt and bread. Yep. And they took it out around the 80s and 90s. They took it out so the population would get stupider. And somebody says, is it stupider a word? To get stupid. But I mean, IQ levels drop based on you not having iodine. And that's all proven facts. So they did it on purpose to manipulate the population. You're welcome. Remember, Natural Cupboard down there. That website is down there. Link is below to that. You can click that and find out some of the great stuff she has there. She has some oat powder as well to stop bleeding. Has some the great what you call, I already told you about, black walnut green hull. So gear up on that level for real. Gear up. I definitely have some honey too. Some unfiltered honey, because you definitely want to have that raw unfiltered honey. So basically you can use that as proteins before training too. I use that actually as a good sugar, for training. So when I go train, actually, I don't eat anything. I'm in a fasting state. I have way more energy like that too. So yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We gave you a live report and just wanted to talk with you on the comment section for a section before we close out. Somebody says time and place for everything. Definitely. Somebody says, is MSM good? Mainstream media? What do you mean? Is MSM good? Is that a joke question? Anyway, they control legalization of propaganda. You can look at that. That'll tell you a lot. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. This is a live report. We're out. We're not going to linger on anymore. And we'll be back coming tomorrow. Somebody says, not mainstream media. LOL.